Have you ever wondered how something seemingly as a couple thousand years old, like the Gita, has such profound insights into the human predicament, which is even relevant to the modern world even today? Well, welcome back to Untagged. I'm Siddhant Chauhan, your host, and together we're going to deep dive into the world of history and mystery through the purview of facts, science, and evidence. So let's just dive right in. Today we're going to cover the aspect of unconditional involvement versus attachment from the Gita and how it relates to the 5 aspects of fitness we talked about before, and also other aspects of life. In the yogic sciences and even in modern day research now, it takes around 21 days to form a new habit, and it also takes around 40 to 48 days for all the food that you've eaten to replace all the cells in your body and replenish it. So if you really want, you can turn your health around in a very short span of time. Let's consider patternistic behaviors of man. Now, the way you have the circadian rhythm, which when you align to, your waking and sleeping cycles are taken care of. You wake up with the sun and then you sleep when the sun goes down, like all the other animals which are day animals. Then you have nocturnal animals, but we're going to talk about just the human predicament today. Similarly, habits are also cyclical in nature. As the world is rotating and revolving, habits that we start to incorporate in our day also take around 24 to 48 hours to happen again. So according to yogic science, 48 means a mandala of 48 hours or like 48 minutes. That's a complete cycle. So let's talk about something as simple as smoking. If you smoke, or if you drink, or if you eat junk food, chances are that after that you'd feel like doing it again. Similarly, even with good habits, our bodies are very naive, our brains are very naive. All they think of is oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, serotonin. If you do self-serving activities like exercise, gardening, cleaning, eating well, they also become habits as they're cyclical in nature. You indulge in one thing, you feel like doing it more. It's as simple as that. It's all about the neurotransmitter response. Like whatever you get dopamine from, chances are you'd like to do it again. So it could be good or bad. That's why today it's really hard to make good habits which are long lasting. We want instant gratification. We want instant results. We want to feel instantly good. We want to be rewarded for the work we put in. That is why it's hard for people to stick with jobs that they're not liking. It is hard for people to do anything without having get results in a short period of time. You think of the quote of unconditional involvement versus attachment, or unconditional labor without the thought of bearing the fruit. You yourself raise to such a level where you will bear the fruit someday without even knowing about it. Whenever you embrace a habit which is sustainable because you're interested in it, chances are that as you enjoy the process, you will bear the results also at some point. Let's talk about sports. Now, if you perform in a sport which you are interested in, chances are that you will practice it more because you love playing the game. And as you do so, your skills improve and hence your game improves and you level up. So after say 2-3 months or 2-3 years of being consistent with your game, chances are that you'll make incremental improvements without even knowing about it. Similarly, even with fitness, if it's sustainable, well and good. So let's say you hammer all your muscles in a week, around 3 to 4 times a week, you literally hammer all your muscles that you have to take some days off. And then you take some other person who's training with lesser volume, who's training around say 30 or 35 minutes a day, doing some push-ups, some squats, some pull-ups, or even weighted training. But he's not hammering his body as hard, so that makes him able to train more than 3 to 4 times a week, probably say around 5 or 6 times a week. In that case, by the end of the weeks and the months and the years, if you gauge who's trained more, the guy who's putting lesser effort but is training more often has gotten more volume, and hence his body is recovered faster and he's made more gains. Doing what's sustainable works. So if you pick up the new crash diets these days, like the paleo diet or the ketogenic diet, they can be very effective in the short term. If you consider the paleo diet, your eating pattern is like the Paleolithic man. So you're eating more meats, you're fasting as well. So you might lose weight and gain some sort of muscle in the short term, but that's not sustainable as you're not getting all your vitamins and minerals, and it's not a balanced diet. Similarly with even the ketogenic diet, you're eating fats and you're depleting carbohydrates from your diet. So in that sense, the ketones which are from the fats are performing as sources of energy for your muscles. So your body is using that energy, but then initially people go through the ketogenic flu. When your body goes into ketosis, in the first couple of days you get the ketogenic flu, you get lightheaded, and even as you progress further, carbohydrates are the source of all energy. So you are basically ridding yourself of the benefits of carbohydrates. It boosts your libido, fuels your muscles with glycogen. So it's not sustainable in the long run. So when we consider holistic healing, we're talking about a holistic approach to longevity, making sure that we're doing things for our flexibility, we're doing things for our strength, our endurance, our coordination, and our control. So let's talk about some sustainable and fun ways to train the 5 aspects of fitness. Now, what is strength training? Any sort of resistance that your body has to push corresponds to strength training. So you can do calisthenics, that is body weight. You can do push-ups, you can do squats, you can do lunges, you can do glute ham bridges. You can do a lot of things. You can do planks, you can do pull-ups, chin-ups. All of that will come under body weight exercises. Or when you talk about weight training, either if you use weights or either use your body, the body doesn't know what's the stimulus that your body is resisting. And choosing compound exercises like the bench press or the squat or the deadlift is going to help you build real lean, solid muscular foundation for your musculature. So in weight training, you have isolation movements and compound movements. So as a beginner, if you haven't trained before, you can either do a combination of both compound movements and isolation movements. So as you do compound movements that require multiple muscle groups to function together, they give you a better release of hormones and a better muscle protein synthesis happening in the body, which leads to better nutrition partitioning. So as you eat proteins, carbs, fats, proteins are going to help build your muscles, carbs are going to be used for the energy, and fats are going to give you good calories and boost your libido and your hormone levels, the health of your skin, hair and nails, and a lot of other things in between. Having strength is really nice, but having flexibility is also very important. Like we've already discussed this in our previous video, you can do active and static stretching. So new research shows that the 2 kinds of cardiovascular training, like steady state cardio and high intensity interval training, together can be effective ways to burn calories. So if you go for a walk, or you just move, you go for a jog, or you sprint, or you cycle, or you just like move your body every day a bit, you dance, or you do jumping jacks, or you skip, that's how you train your cardiovascular endurance. But now, if you want to improve your muscular endurance as well as your cardiovascular endurance, you can keep shorter rest intervals even in your strength training. So if you do like a set of bench press and then you do a set of squats, you can move right into one exercise to another. So that will provide you the heartburn that you need to train these components of fitness. Quite mysteriously, if you look at esoteric sciences from the past, you pick up yoga. Yoga combines strength and flexibility and even cardiovascular endurance. It's so well-rounded. Like if you practice Angamardana, you can build muscle and stay flexible and also train your cardiovascular endurance. If you do Hatha Yoga, you become very flexible and also very embodied. Like you won't have any aches and pains here and there. So a good mix between strength training and yoga is a very nice, holistic, progressive way to go on with your fitness program. So considering the given pandemic situation, if you want to make some good changes in your fitness, you can start with doing bodyweight exercises and combine cardio as well. So for instance, you can do around half an hour of fasted cardio in the morning, and after around 2-3 meals later in the day, you can do a good session of either bodyweight training or weight training in the comfort of your home, considering the equipment you have. But there's one more key component in this whole fitness thing that most of us miss out on. It's called nutrition. So if you put in all the work possible, but you don't get your nutrition right, just because of not getting that dialed in, you can really not get what you want. But there's a simple way to calculate the number of calories you need in a day. Just take your body weight in kilograms and multiply it by 20. So for example, if I'm an 80 kilogram man, my maintenance calories for the day are going to be 1600 calories. 18 to 20, 1600. Now if I want to lose weight, I'm going to eat say 200 to 500 calories lesser than 1600. And if I want to gain weight, I'm going to eat 200 to 500 calories above 1600. But if I want to do it correctly, I'm going to try to hit my protein goal. If I take my weight again as 80, if I multiply it by 2, I need 160 grams of protein a day to build muscle. And if I want to maintain my body weight, I need around 80 to 100 grams. It goes like a gram per kg of body weight to maintain and 2 grams per kg to gain. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to link a macronutrient calculator in the description right below so that you can also get a rough estimate about what all you need to do. All you have to do is put in your body weight, a couple of more questions you have to answer, and they'll give you a number. And then you can track those number of calories, and it's not that hard. Just do it for a day and then just follow that subsequently. You can use an app like MyFitnessPal or Healthify.me. You can enter the foods that you've eaten for the day and it's going to calculate the number of calories that you eat. And after that, you can always evaluate whatever you're eating and is giving you similar macronutrients. And I show you that you will make better results. So as you practice skills, you get better at them. And of course, if they're fun, you're going to stick to them. So it's as simple as that. And even if you indulge in self-deprecating activity, chances are that they're just going to form patterns and habits that get harder and emboldened to break out of. Maybe building a business or making a really good body or learning a new skill or dominating a sport. All you have to do is stay attached to the process, love what you're doing and stick to it. Consistency is key. कर्म करो, फल की चिंता मत करो, फल वैसे ही आएगा और जब आएगा बहुत मीठा होगा.